So on this call, like I said, we are going to use ChatGPT to create VLMs that convert. So what we're going to be covering is number one, understanding topics of choice based on, I'll say, urgency slash priority, or let's say chronological, goodness, if I can type, order. So this is gonna be the first thing we do. And let me go ahead and make sure that this font size is not this small, because I want to make sure you guys are able to read it. I'm not even sure how to increase font size. We'll move on. If you guys know, let me know. Maybe it's in view.
Try control scroll up.
This is what I did right here. Make sure this is nice and visible. Okay, is that a little better?
Yeah.
Great. So use ChatGPT to create VLMs that convert. Number one, we're going to find topics of choice based on urgency, priority, or chronological order. Number two, we're going to use Google to develop some basic answers. Three, we're going to use chat to build it out. Four, we are going to reread it in out loud to reword in our voice, our being you. So I don't want to type something and send it to Simon and then it sounds like Simon is speaking like me. I don't want Brian to send something to Dante and then Dante sounds like Brian. I want you to sound like you. This is going to be the big piece when you're reading, to feel comfortable, to feel natural, to make sure that you're able to have it in your own words. It's really awkward if you've written something and then you go to read something and you're like struggling to say the word that you typed up, right? That's like how teachers used to catch people who had someone else do the homework for them, right? Then we're going to add images and GIFs. Then we're going to have best practices for reading aloud. Now, I'm going to be doing this in Google. You can do this in any process you want to do. It can be a slideshow, it can be a Canva doc, it can be a Zoom doc, it can be a ClickUp doc. I just like using Google Sheets, so I'm going to show you, or Google Docs rather, so I'm going to show you what I do with Google Docs, okay? So let's go over here and let me pull up one of my docs. And so let's go to Okay. So we're going to make a new doc right here. So I'm going to go plus Google Doc. I'm just going to start right here. So this is going to be where I create everything. I'm going to show you formatting. I'm going to show you everything. Again, this is just using Google Docs. If you guys want me to change it, we can change it down the road. So I'm going to need people to engage. So if you can let me know what industry we want to create a video lead magnet for, we can go from there.
Remodeling.
Okay, remodeling. Anybody else have a different one?
Septic.
Septic, cleaning, anything else?
Mhm.
All right, so what we're gonna do to start is I need to make sure that I have a really, really good topic. And I want to make sure I have a good topic based on urgency or priority or chronological order. So there's two avenues with this. Excuse me. Chronological order would be when you are starting out, you are brand new. What is the first problem you have? Urgency and priority would be you're an established business. What is the biggest problem you have? So these are two very good topics. Now, either way, it is important to understand that when you pick a topic, you are solving only that topic. The idea is that you go so in depth that you are perceived as a subject matter expert and that your solution unlocks a new problem, which is, oh, you can come work with me and I can help solve this faster. Or, great, you've achieved X. Now, Y is your next problem? And I'm going to go through all of this with you. So, for example, let me show you. Looking at our flow chart that we did for remodeling and roofing, right? If your biggest issue is I need to get leads right here, the minute you get a lead, what is the next issue that you want to solve for? What do you guys think?
What do you do with it? What do you have to do with the lead?
You want to convert the lead. So that would be a problem too. So you want to generate a lead, then you want to convert the lead. Now, once you convert the lead, what do you want to do after that? You want to give the lead what
Makes
you told them you'd give them, right? And then you want to see, okay, once you give them what you gave them, how can I make sure that maybe I collect payment, or maybe I get a review, or maybe I turn that one happy person into multiple? And so each topic that you're going to figure out is going to lead you to a new video lead magnet idea. So that's why I would definitely recommend watching the video that comes before this, because you'll understand how to map this whole process out, and you will see topics in that process. And so what's interesting is when you map it out, you'll see. Now, let's say you're completely brand new, you want to get a video lead magnet out the gate as fast as humanly possible, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to hop over into just a random Google tab, okay? And with this random Google tab, we want to find information. So let's say there's a few things we can do. We can say, what is the biggest issue for cleaners? Okay. Now you can look at the Gemini or whatever. Is this Gemini? I don't know what this is. I'm going to skip this. You can come down here. We can see top 5 commercial cleaning problems: poor communication, poor cleaning quality, cleaners not showing up to site. I can scroll down here and I want to look for this. I want to look for people actually speaking. Okay. I want to make sure that I understand. I get human feedback. I don't want people writing essays. I don't want people writing blogs. I don't want people writing anything. I want to see humans communicating. So I'm going to pop this open. So you can go Quora, you can go Reddit, you can go Facebook, but you want some kind of form where people are talking. Why do I want this? Well, if you have watched the previous trainings with product development, the best thing that you can do is speak to a human being and say, what is the biggest problem you have in your business? That's the best thing you can do. The second best thing you can do is you can eavesdrop on people who are already speaking. So I can go back and I can eavesdrop on people who are already speaking about this. So this is where forms come into play. Now, I want to be really clear before I move on. Some of you may have just heard what I said and took that as permission to skip speaking to somebody one-on-one. That's not what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is this is the second best thing to do. Now, I'm trying to paint you a very clear picture. When I say second best, I don't mean like talk to somebody, listen in on somebody. I mean, talk to somebody's up here and listen to somebody who's way off the screen. It's so much lower, but it's better than nothing. So we're going to start here. Now, you can see this AI system bot tells us here are some issues with running a cleaning business. So it's kind of extracted the information from this. So let's go ahead and look at it. And Patricia, if you don't mind, if you want to give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or nod your head, or even say yes, from your experience running cleaning businesses, if you've seen that this is pretty accurate or not. So staffing and retention, Patricia, yay or nay? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Scheduling, do you think that's an issue sometimes?
No, there's too
Not
many
as much.
softwares.
All right,
Yeah.
let's skip it. Client acquisition.
Um, yes,
Yeah, not as high, but yes. Quality control.
absolutely. That should be number one.
Okay, so let's stop right there. Patricia owns a cleaning business. She works with people in this space, not only her own business, but other people in the space. She just told us that quality control is the biggest issue for cleaners. So now, if I think that's the biggest issue that they're having, what would I assume the repercussions? Somebody who's not Patricia, because it's pretty easy to follow this train of thought, but I'm testing you guys. If quality control is the biggest issue in the cleaning space, what do you think would happen if you had really good quality control? What would the benefit of that be? Indirect or direct?
good reviews, more
Good
growth.
reviews, word of mouth marketing, referrals, all from quality control. What would be the negative impacts or the symptoms of bad quality control?
Bad reviews, poor customer retention.
There it is. And this is what this is what I want to show you guys. So like and this is going to be like very conflicting for some of you to hear. The reason we niche down, it's not because that this stuff doesn't work with every space. It's because you want to understand the intricacies of a certain space. But when you look at the macro and of local service-based businesses or business in general, you'll start seeing so many similarities, so many overlaps. So many.
Can I
Yeah,
ask a
Patricia.
question?
Yeah.
I know you said not to confuse this with one-on-ones. Would you consider one-on-ones or pretty close to one-on-ones? Like if a company, most based companies have like exit interviews or exit surveys with
Yes.
their
Perfect.
clients, seeing what their actual problem is to,
Beautiful.
okay,
Yeah, because you're getting raw data from an actual individual in the business.
okay.
Same. So when you see the new SASO University program that's coming out middle of September, when we do the group creation to push people to a group, we ask them in the group, what is the name of your business? What are things going well and what are things not going well? And we put in parentheses, we're not selling you. We just want to know what free content to make. They will come into the group and they will literally tell you, this is where I'm struggling. And then you can make that content. Now, when you push that content, which I'm showing you how to make here, and they go, I want it, you send them a copy and you go, oh, by the way, what are you working towards? And boom, the sales conversation is off. Because even if they ghost you, the second time that they go and request a document from you, all you have to do is scroll up in that little feed and you can see, oh, what are you working towards? And they say, I'm working towards 12 residential clients. So I can send the doc. I go, oh, hey, last time we spoke, you wanted 12 clients. Where are you at right now? So if they're at 12, yay. If you're not, ooh, imagine how we work together. How much does that cost you, right? And I can
How much
start
time
asking.
did that cost? Yeah.
And so now that the follow-up is tailored to them, it makes sense for you. It's not pushy, it's not slimy. Because the minute if you say I set a goal and I come and follow up with you when you said you're gonna hit that goal, and I go, how's that going? And that goal isn't going well, that's gonna agitate you right then and there.
Mhm.
And I need to, when I write my stories, this is something I'm going to show you guys down the road when I use ChatGPT to help me create copy for stories. I tell it, one of the prompts I give it is, I want you to make this so agitating that it entices the business owner to take action. So I'll say things like, you think systems are what gets you there, or I use basically like what comes off as very aggressive language. But the idea is that when you're talking to a business owner, not a client, not a customer, when you're talking to a business owner, you want to agitate them so much so that they get off their butt and take action, right? So you're saying quality control is the biggest issue, right? So let's copy this over and let's move this over to title text. Now let's copy this. And now what I'm going to do, and I'm going to come back here and I'm going to say how to improve quality control for cleaners or cleaning services. I'm going to skip all this. I'm going to go straight down to people also ask right here. How to improve the quality of cleaning? What is quality control in cleaning? What is quality insurance? How to measure quality cleaning? So these are good questions that are going to help somebody who's really involved in the space. I have a pretty extensive background in cleaning. Patricia has way more experience, but for the two of us, it may be really hard to communicate to other people what quality control is. So for us, we need to remove ourselves from the weeds and we need to say, hey, let me explain what this is first. Then let me explain the symptoms of it. Now that you recognize the need for it, let me show you how to fix it. Right. So again, let's go back to our process. We have a topic. We use Google to develop some basic answers. Now let's have chat build it out. So let's go over and did I get rid of ChatGPT? What am I doing here? I guess I got rid of ChatGPT. All right, let's hop back in ChatGPT. And I'm going to say, I want to create a lead, or I'm going to say, I want to create a document or training, actually. I want to create a training that explains the importance of maintaining quality control. And you just put whatever topic it is here. I want to create a training that explains the importance of, boom, maintaining quality control, follow-up sequences for remodeling, um, automations for septic tank cleaners 2 months before their next cleaning to get them on the schedule. Whatever the topic is, right? In this training, I want to explain the following.
Should you tell it quality control in cleaning services?
Yeah, that's a good point. In cleaning ooh, services. Now, one, what is quality control assurance? Two, what are the symptoms of poor QC QA? Three, what are the benefits of good QC QA? And I want to say focus on the systems that could be created with a software like Go High Level, with a software like Monday, like Zoho, like whatever, like whatever software you want to use. Focus on the systems that could be created with a software like Go High Level to automate this process for a client. So again, this is one hyper specific focus. I'm not saying QC will lead to word of mouth referral, and then to improve word of mouth referral, you want to do this. And then once you do that, you want to just up and down, depth, not breadth. Okay. And now what we're going to say is 5, end with a CTA to now, Patricia, for you, would you want them to follow your social media to get a copy? Do you want them to give an email and that will trigger, maybe they can go to a link, put in the email and it sends the lead magnet? Would you rather them just hop on a call with you to learn more, maybe join a webinar? What would be your call to action? And there's no right answer. It's just what would your call to action be?
Yikes, I don't know. I mean, get an email, contact information.
Okay. So let's say end with a call to action to head to a link to get a copy of the training. So now it's going to do its thing. Now there's two things that we can do from here. What I do is I will go and I will take this kind of an outline and I will immediately create. So once I have this outline, then you'll see me make my events in my group. And that's where I'll say, these are the topics I'm going to cover. So then what I'm going to do is on my group call, I'm going to cover these topics. I don't have it right now because I've been doing this for a while, but I would have these topics off to the left-hand side and I would read these topics and I would basically say, okay, let's cover quality control and assurance, right? And all I'm doing, by the way, I'm just reading off this, right? So let's start with what it is, right? Just to make sure we're all on the same page. Quality control, QC, quality assurance, you might have heard it, is basically making sure that the cleaning services are meeting the standards that we have set in the contract. Okay. Now, quality assurance is going to ensure that the process and systems are being consistently delivered across those standards, right? Now, here's the objective. What are we trying to do with this? What is the reason that we're doing this? It's because we want to maintain a high standard that is going to deliver satisfaction for the client while ensuring efficiency in this cleaning space. What is that going to do for you? It's going to make sure that you get more word of mouth referrals. It's going to make sure that you have happier clients who are leaving great reviews, who are keeping you, staying with you longer. And it's going to make sure that your team is really happy because they understand what they need to do. They understand how to gauge their performance, and you can actually measure their performance better, leading to better promotions, better job satisfaction. The lists are endless. Now, check it out. If you have poor quality control, and you see how like I'm just reading this and going off of it. So what you want to do, and for anyone who's like, well, Alec, you've been doing this for a little bit. I'm a professional yapper. Yes, I know. I work with agency clients. I just took Grant. I don't know if Grant, are you on this call? No, I don't think he's on this call. I think he's on a sales call right now. So I took Grant. Grant, his biggest concern was content. And when I took Grant, I said, hey, when you're reading this off, whether you just copy and paste this into a Google Doc, when you're reading it, here's what I tell him. I say, do not read this piece right here. Don't do it. I want you to read this, and then I want you to read the definition only. Just read, okay, definition. What is it? What is the purpose? What is the objective of this? And then I want you to look at the camera and just talk. Because if I say, and I'm picking on you, Patricia, because you made the mistake of showing up. So I'm just picking on you. But if I said, Patricia, can you read this to me? I don't know how good of a reader you are. You might be phenomenal. You might not be great. Either way, the moment I tell you to start reading, whether you're great or not, you're going to start reading in your reading voice. But if I tell you, Patricia, without looking at the screen, can you tell me the importance of quality control in a cleaning business? All of a sudden, we start seeing how Patricia speaks in a normal, relaxed, informal setting. And that is the Patricia we want. Now, whether Patricia speaks the same as Alec or Shelby or Simon doesn't mean anything. What matters is, are you speaking in a way where if I'm working with you on a day-to-day basis, it feels the exact same. It feels like, oh, that's the Patricia I saw in content, right? That is going to be what leads to people saying, if I see her content, if I see anybody's content, immediately I either like the person enough to stick around. So it doesn't need to be 100% like them, okay? It needs to be I 51% like them more than I 49% dislike them. That's it. So they're immediately going to say, I either like them enough to keep watching or get on a call, or I dislike them enough to where I don't want to get on a call. What do you think is going to happen to your show up rate, your conversion rate, your close rate, your churn rate when people get to understand who you are via your content and they like you already? Here's what I'll tell you. The people who don't like you, they're not going to stick with you long. So I don't want to have a sales call where they're going to tell me to my face, "Oh, I don't like you." You could have found that out hopping on YouTube, right? And like I tell people, someone's like, "Oh, I don't like the way you talk," or "I don't like the way." When you liking how I walk, talk, whatever pays my bills, you'll be the first to know. Until then, have a great day. Same thing goes for any of you, right? So it's and I'm not saying you to me, I'm saying you to your clients, right?
Thousand
You are
percent.
who you're going to, you are who you are. I would rather you build a business being who you are than having to wake up and put on a face and put on a mask, right? Now, that doesn't mean go out and be like crazy and berserk with clients, but it means be yourself. And the easiest way to do that with content is have a framework, read your headline, and then you can go and you can speak. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, so I have my basic framework, right? Now, what I want to do is I want to add a little tonality and I want to add a little bit more enticing titles. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, this is a good start. We do that because if they ever have physical bodies, I don't need them coming after me first. Okay. I don't need the Terminator series showing up because I cussed out ChatGPT. That's just me. You guys do what you want. I'm very nice to chat. So this is a good start. Next, I want to create H2s. So these will be your headings, your second your H2s, your smaller headings, right? So you've got your H1s. I'm assuming these are probably these knowing chat, they probably formatted this as like an H3, but I'm just gonna say next I want to create H2s under the 5 steps you wrote that go a little more in depth. So I'm just keeping it simple. Here we go. So now I don't have to read define. I don't have to read objective. I can just understand. I can just say, okay, what is quality control? Number one, let's define what QC is versus QA. Let's look at the symptoms. Number one, inconsistent this, increase this, right? I can just read this. So Patricia, and I've been in the cleaning space, so I know enough to have a conversation with Patricia. She could probably mop the floor with me, pun intended. But I could say employee turnover
Uh,
and dissatisfaction. I could say when my when I came into a team that did not have standards set and they didn't know what they were doing, you would always see key individuals step up, and you would always see other people, kind of relax a little too much. And then what would happen? The people relaxing too much, I'd get on them. They'd be like, "Get off my case," and they would quit. The people who'd step up would get burnt out because they're doing everything. They wouldn't be recognized. I couldn't increase pay, and then they would leave and quit. So either way, I'm screwed. From left sideways, whatever, right? I don't have to read that. I don't have to read this to know my past experience with this, right? I don't have to read this to know when satisfaction is bad, the client starts complaining, they start looking at going somewhere else, they start looking at having somebody else do it, they start having to call in their own guys to do it. All are symptoms of you about to lose the contract, right? And I'm sure Patricia could agree with me there. The client starts complaining. Some clients complain just to complain, like your in-laws. Some people are complaining because they're like, "Hey, I'm really, really actually upset with this," right? So I can read these now. Patricia, be honest with me. Would you read creating real-time analytics dashboards? Would you say that in a natural conversation?
No.
No. So this is the benefit when you have a live, this is the benefit in terms of condensing your edit time. What you can do is if I go through and read this, I'm going to be rereading it. And I'm going to pull up my own I'm going to pull up my Descript, my video editor to show you guys what I mean. So when I read this aloud in let's say a Zoom call or something, just like I'm going to do with this exact training, we'll see if Descript plays nice today because sometimes it's not usually a fan when I'm streaming. You can see I pulled it up right here. SASO University group call. This is the group call I did Friday, okay? What I did is now I have me reading my outline that you guys saw in the video. What I can do is I can take this and I can now copy this and I can have this act as my tonality. So I can copy this script and I can say all the prompts that I gave it before, I can say, oh, restructure this into sections, redo this. And I can say at every single turn, do not change the tone or the voice. So now it's going to rewrite it in my tone, in my voice. Now, let's say you haven't done it yet. What you can do is you can give it an example of, hey, can you rewriting it using a similar tone from this excerpt? You could do that. Or I can come here and I can say, Patricia, what do you think when you speak? what kind of tone do you have? And I'll give you an example if you need time to think. I'll give you like little pockets of time so you're not just sitting there like, stressed out. For me, I use a very direct, dry humor and dull tone. So when I say, can you rewrite it using a direct, dry humor and dull tone? It spits it out and I'm like, "Oh, that sounds just like me." Do you have an idea of how you think that you speak?
I am direct, but I think I'm a, does fast matter? Like I'm a fast talker, so I'm direct. I'm a
Mhm.
fast talker
Would you say you
and
use longer or shorter sentences?
long, long,
Okay.
too many words sometimes.
Okay. And then would you say that you are more soft or firm with clients who kind of like pull away from your process?
Probably more firm.
Okay. So I would say gentle yet firm while giving as much context as possible. Now, the next piece I want to understand. So let's not lose that. Can you rewrite this using a gentle, goodness, my fingers today, but firm tone while giving generous context? The next piece I want to do, additionally, Patricia, I was in the cleaning space. So I'm not saying this about you, but in the cleaning space, a lot of the people who came into work usually were, and again, I'm not asking any personal questions about you. I don't care either way. A lot of people coming to work for me were usually people who had dropped out of high school or were former inmates. They were formerly incarcerated, right? And they were some of the sweetest people ever. I have no problem with anyone's past, but they usually, because of their background, they usually had a little bit of a lower reading level. Again, phenomenal cleaners, phenomenal human beings, just a little bit of a lower reading level. Would you say for the other business owners in your space, what type of background would you say they have? Now, for context, what I want to understand here is the educational and reading level so I can reword this. It would be insulting to talk to a doctor and say things like, okay, you know how your bones are connected? They're going to be like, okay, stop patronizing me, right? It would also be insulting or almost offensive if you talk to somebody on a lower reading level and saying things like, we want to have a time sensitive offer using data analytics. They're going to be like, come on, don't do that to me. So that's what we're looking to have. We want to be understood and make them feel understood in the same take.
I think that you're still talking to blue collar people, like hard workers, but
Hmm.
I think I think some of that's changing. Like people are being more, um, the cleaning, the cleaning companies that I hang out with because I pay a much higher rate for my
Hmm.
software. It's an investment, not
Hmm.
just a software. Um, you tend to see people not hire people with backgrounds like that. So,
Gotcha.
and they are trying to professionalize the cleaning company, what we're viewed as. So instead of having a view of a maid, someone who is we're trying to make it a trade. So we're
Okay.
spending more
Okay.
time training, professionalizing it. So it's a different kind of cleaner that we're looking for.
So
A
additionally, can we
sanitation
use
engineer.
right. That's what we did in the commercial space. It's always residential. And then in the home, it's always like, cleaner. And then yeah. It's funny how like the same process but different titles. So additionally, can we use a slightly simpler language? I would say based on what you're telling me is I would say um similar to a 10th grade reading level. Now here's a good component, okay? If I say 10th grade reading level, it's going to change everything to 10th grade reading level, okay? This is my little pro tip that I do. And again, we'll see if chat is going to embarrass me or actually follow through like it has in the past. But here's what I'll say. I still want you to use technical and jargon terms. But when you do, I want you to immediately follow up with a simple breakdown of what those mean. This is how you can increase your perceived status and your positioning. So if I say something like, "Oh, you want a system that can handle all of your clients," you can still say, "We want to use a niche specific CRM." What that means is, and then baby language. Okay. So I'm still maintaining that level of technicality and that level of I'm really good at what I do, and that's why I know all this advanced terminology. But also the in my intelligence, I can also explain this really really well. So that's where you can become really approachable, and that's where people will see you as very smart. It's one thing to be super smart; it's another thing to be smart and be able to communicate it to anybody's reading level. That's where you show um, a little bit of humility. That's where you still maintain that positioning while also being perceived as high status. So let's go ahead and see what it cranks out and if it's going to embarrass me on the call or not. Yeah, this is a lot better. Poor quality leads to lost customers. This is known as client churn. Do you see how nice that is?
Yeah.
And look how to direct and to the point that is. So that's exactly what I'm looking for. Because what's happening is here, this is little, I call them little pro tips. I'm not saying that in case you guys know it already, but a very good pro tip is when you're making content or when you are speaking, when you are writing, if you can educate somebody, not by mansplaining, whether man or woman, not by doing the mansplaining thing, but if I can say, okay, well, just like here, poor quality is going to lead to losing customers. We call this your churn, and we want to measure this number. What's going to happen is if somebody watches this piece of content from Patricia and they walk away, this is what people do all the time. I'm 99% certain that you guys have probably done this. If you come to the group calls, you've probably already done this with my content to your spouse, your significant other, your friends, your buddies, whatever. You'll say, "Oh,
Mm.
did you know about XYZ?" Or, "Hey, I'm actually focused on XYZ right now." And it's a topic that I may have brought to your attention, right? So in doing that, you will enjoy my content more because not only are you walking away feeling more educated and feeling more advanced, but now you also are perceived higher status in your conversations because you know more. This is why I tell you guys read books in this space because you can walk away having understood more complex or more advanced or maybe more mature concepts. And that's going to benefit you, but also when you have conversations with people, they're going to perceive you as higher status because you're ahead of the curve, all because you're just reading what someone else is writing. Whether it's me, whether it's somebody way smarter, way richer than me, whether it's the opposite, right? Think about it, if you have kids, like if you have kids and you don't know Miss Rachel, they're like, okay, what are you doing with your kid, right? Just an example. So this looks really good so far. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you some guys some more pro tips. Is you see this button right here that says copy? We are not going to push this button. I'm going to show you why, but we're not going to push this button. So if I click copy and I come over here and I do this, you see all this little asterisks and how it's like formatted funky. We're going to not do that. So we're going to come back here and we're just going to this. Oops. And then we're going to come here and then we're going to paste. And look at that formatting. Beautiful.
Hmm.
Now I'm going to come back here and I'm going to say, give me a YouTube SEO friendly title that piques curiosity. Uh, let's see. Would you click on that video? Here, I'll do a better one. Give me 10 options with the same tone and language above. And Patricia, can you read these options pretty well?
Uh-huh.
Okay, which option would you click?
I like 1, 3, um,
And if you guys are in the chat, you guys go ahead in the chat or come off mute. Tell me
5,
which option you would click.
6. I think I like 6 more now.
I like 8
6, 8.
Yeah,
Anybody
I think I
else?
like 8.
because 8, the first 3 words are attention grabbing to the need.
Mm.
Yep, I do like 8. You're right.
And you know
I
what's
like
funny? I
9.
like 4. Brian, were you saying something, Brian?
I was saying 9, but yeah, 4. I kind of like the number 1 and the secret. Like it kind of is intriguing and mysterious
Mm.
and draws you in.
Now check this out. What we're gonna do is we're going to say, let's take. So now, let me ask you guys this one. Well, actually, let's do this. Let's take 9 because I think 9 really encompasses it. Now 9 is gonna become your title. Now, pro tip for Google Docs: you post this in and you have it formatted as title, which you just double click title. If you see where it says untitled document, click here and there it goes. Really fast. Now we have this laid out, right? Now I'm going to come back over here. Now let's say I know, Patricia, I didn't just ask you which one you liked just to tell you to screw off and pick the one I liked. I'm going to show you. This one is a little bit more telling of what the topic is. Now this one, let's say you like 8, this will become your YouTube title when you post it. So now check this out. You have a double hook. They click this one and they're like, oh, I want to click on this video. The minute that you start your document, you're reading your VLM, you're now going to read this off, a double hook. So they're reading the title they clicked, and then here you go, hey, in this training, I'm going to show you the secret weapon for top-notch cleaning services, quality control automation. Or even, because this is in the doc, I can say SOPs for quality control automation. I can make this whatever I want to make it. And you can already see, because I copied it the way I copied it, look at the formatting. Very, very nice, very clean. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to let's go back to our training. So we've done the topics of choice, we've done this, we've used chat. Now what we're going to do, we're not going to do this on this call because it'll take forever, is we are going to reread it out loud to reword everything in our voice. So I've tried to get as close as I can, but I want to reread it because if I go to record it and I'm stumbling over something, I've done this before. I've recorded some videos 30, 40 times because I stumble over the same thing. And then I go, what are you doing? Just rewrite it because obviously you can't read it. Like you're stumbling over it, you're stuttering over it. You need to reformat it because you're obviously not, your reading comprehension ain't too good here. So I'm like, what am I doing, Alec? So when you stumble, when you stutter, stop, rewrite it, reword it. So now what we're going to do is I would come in here and I would say, number one, what is quality first? And I'll change this. I don't want to say what is quality control insurance. I would say first, let's cover what this is. What is quality control assurance? And I'm just reading this title, right? To start, we've got to define exactly what it is. So quality control, and if you're ever reading it, what I would do is I would just highlight it if you're ever reading it. Quality control means making sure the cleaning work you're providing consistently meets a certain standard. Okay, what's the difference? Quality control is to make sure that your quality control efforts stay strong over time. While QC checks individual jobs, QA looks at the bigger picture. So these are pretty similar. QC might be more specific. QA might be a bigger picture. This training's going to help you with each.
Where would you reread it at? You're just reading it out loud for yourself, or you
Just read it out
recording?
loud.
Okay.
If you have a community, you can do what I did where I read it on a Zoom, it pulls a transcript, I move it to Descript, I copy and you don't have to move it to Descript. I copy the Zoom transcript, I copy the Google transcript, whatever transcripting software you're using, maybe you're using Auto Notes or whatever transcript service you're
So I
using,
can use like Loom because I do that with Loom.
whatever service you want to use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can even record it by yourself. You don't have to have someone to speak to. You can record it by yourself, go through it. And what you can do is if you mess up, don't stop the recording. Just you mess up. What I do is I use a word. I'll use a stop word. So I'll use something like pineapple. This is a trick somebody taught me. So they were using it for a keynote. So they would say pineapple and they'd say, oh, that's a keynote, pineapple. Because they knew pineapple wouldn't come up in a normal conversation. So then they would say, okay, I can look at my transcript. Every time I see pineapple, that's a really cool note I want to take. I use it for the opposite effect. If I make a mistake, I'd say something like pineapple or cherry tree. Because then I can go through my manuscript and I can click Control F. And every time I see pineapple, I know all I have to do is delete that part of the transcript. Instead of me watching my whole recording, making sure I listen to it 15 times over. Oh, I missed it. Control F, pineapple, remove that spot. Boom, I've removed every part where I messed up. And you'll see a 20-minute video will drop down to a 12-minute video because you're removing all your mistakes. And what's nice is that you don't put so much pressure on yourself to like have a perfect flow. You just fix it in post. So all you're doing is saying pineapple, and then you're going to come in here and you're going to reread it, retype it up. Now, the final piece, or not the final piece, but the next piece is going to be adding your images and your GIFs. So anytime that there is a process, I want to use a workflow or some kind of an illustration in Canva. Now, what I've seen does really well is when you have a nice illustration and then you have some kind of drawing over it. So I'll show you what I mean. Let's see. I think this one is. Okay, so I would take something like this and I would bring out just a little pen and I would make the color stand out. And then I would basically say, something like, uh, you know, this ties back to this. This is all stuff I've done in other videos, right? And I would say something like, a bunch of arrows here. And I maybe do like a little smiley face. And then I would, from here, because I have a nice polished image with some drawings on it, then I would download it and put it in my document somewhere. I've seen that those, like, people really engage well with those. If you haven't, and you just hop in Canva, hop in a whiteboard, map out your flow, add a little handwriting, let it be bad, or let it be good, let it be yours, doesn't matter. And then you would download it and you would throw it in here. Now, that would be what I would do for anything for flows. If I say, oh, like, now if I have something where there's not a flow, so let me find a flow first. So let's say here, right? I could put in here a flow where it says good QC, and then I could have an arrow that says client is happy, which then branches off to client stays longer and branches off the other way to client sends friends. Friends come in, which cycles back to new client, positive QC, cycles into happy client, cycles into new friend, and just like you can see how it repeats, right? And I'll show you an exact example of that. So you're not thinking I'm just pointing at the screen like a lunatic. Let's see. Right here. So we can take this and we could substitute this out for lawn care for cleaning. And I could say, customers ask their friends who they use for cleaning. You get cleaning clients. Our automations upsell additional services. And then instead of here, I'd probably add another one that says we ensure, strong QC QA. Client is happy. We send feedback forms to collect positive reviews. Happy clients receive referral campaigns. Boom, it repeats. See how that works? So I would take this because it's a positive flow of the benefit of this, and I'd screenshot it and put in here. Now, for things like this, where you don't have you could do another negative flow, like bad customer service leads to negative reviews, leads to no referrals, leads to don't go work with them, right? You could have a negative flow. And then I could say here, up here, where it's something very generic and there's no flow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go to Giphy.com, and you can just use images here. So I'm going to show you how to do this. So let's say you want to do something like, what is cleaning quality assurance? Maybe I just want to do like cleaning. Maybe it's like this, right? Like, do you feel like this? Because you're having to come in and do all the work for your clients, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this little, you see this little link right here? I'm going to grab this link. You don't have to use humor. I'm just showing you an example. And I'm going to come in here. I'm going to go to insert image by URL, Control V, insert image. And now you have an additional hook that sometimes will happen where it glitches out. But now you have an additional hook where you have the two title switch, right? You have the title for the YouTube video, you have the title for this, and then you have a Giphy. And I don't know why it's moving at the speed of lightning. Let's grab another one. Or you have not a Giphy, you have a GIF, right? So now you have a visual hook, you have the double verbal hook, the two titles, right? Let's see if this one's going to be moving like a crackhead. Maybe it's because I'm on Zoom. No, there we go. And then I could even change it to be like, my opening hook might even be like, do you feel like you're having to do everyone's job because you have no SOPs for quality of standard? It's like, oh yeah, I do feel like that. Let me show you how to fix that. First off, what is QC? So I can add in an image. And what I like to do is I like to have an image or a graphic under my main titles. So just so it's visually appealing. At the end, what you want to do for your call to action, encourage action with a time sensitive offer. So you could say, I'm not a big fan of time sensitive. I just say, hey, join the community, join the group. If you want to copy this, go here. What I would do is I would rename this from call to action to next steps or maybe action items. And then from here, I would want to have a very agitating statement. So you have to agitate people in order to get them to take action. There's a reason why somebody will say, I was smoking my whole life, but then when I had a kid, I stopped smoking because I didn't want them to die. Or I was smoking my whole life, and then my buddy who was smoking with me, he stroked out because we were vaping. Or I used to be 500 pounds overweight, and my kids kept crying because I wouldn't play with them, right? And then it's like, oh, I had to get up and do something, right? So it's usually like people's like stories usually start with some kind of like agitating point that really gets them to get up and do it, but it has to be like it's not motivational. It has to also be agitating. It has to be agitating. Because if you have to, and here's the thing, this is going to help you with your conversion so much better. If I have to convince you to get on a sales call with me, it's not going to convert well. Oh, Patricia, hop on a call with me. Please hop on a call. Like, hop on a call in 5 minutes of your time. Come on, 5 minutes of your time. Oh, don't you want to work with me? I could do this. I could do. On the other hand, I could be like, listen, Don't hop on a call with me if you're going to waste my time. Okay. I'm looking for people in the cleaning space who are serious about scaling. They're serious about investing in their business. They're serious about taking the next step. If that's not you, save yourself the time and money. And please, please, please save me the time. Now, for those of you that understand that these are the kind of things that can lead into you scaling your business, here's what I need you to do right now. I need you to go. I need you to fill out this link. It's going to send you the training right away. You're going to start getting emails from me. Or I need you to go. I need you to book a call with me. Listen to me right now. This is the hardest step. The hardest step is saying, I need to take action. But if you take action, I will take you the rest away. I need you right now to stop what you're doing and go join a free Facebook group. It is 100% free. You're going to get free trainings the minute you join. You're going to have free lives 1 to 2 times a month. I need you to go do this right now. Now, again, I need to be clear. If that's not you, please stay away from me, stay away from the community. We're trying to grow a group of people who are super, super serious about this. And you can
So
use
would
whatever
you use,
tonality you
oh,
want.
sorry.
No, no, you're good. You're good. You can use whatever
So would
tonality you
you
want, but
use
be aggressive.
would you use the, oh my gosh, what was one of the other ones, topic titles that you had? Like instead of next steps, or would you say next step or stop
I
losing
would
clients?
say next steps right here.
Okay.
I would say next steps because it's like, okay, you've read this, now what? And you can even, I'll even put that in my thing. Okay, you watch this training, now what are you going to do about it? Are you sitting here? Why? And like when I speak, by the way, I always use single person, second person. So single second person. So I don't say, hey, you guys. I say, hey, what are you going to do about this right now?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
I just showed you what you're going to do. You know what to do. There's no excuses. So either you want it or you're kidding yourself by watching all these videos, doing nothing with the information you're getting because you are too afraid to take action. Or what's probably the honest case is that you're too afraid to take action. You think you're nice, you think you're comfy, all the while you're complaining you don't have enough money. All the while you're complaining your business sucks. All the while you're complaining your employees talk back to you. At some point, you have to realize that you don't know everything, and that's okay. But now that you know you don't know everything, what are you going to do about it? And you can pick how aggressive or how soft you want to be with it. But at the end of the day, when you speak like that, you are going to scare away people who they don't want to do anything anyway. I call them like little drive. There's two types of people. There's people who just want to have their brain stroked, and then you have the people who are just drive-by haters. I'm not gonna let nobody tell me what I'm doing in my business. Okay, have fun. Have fun being a complete grade A loser. Thank you so much for waving that red flag. Please stay away, far, far away from me. I saw a lady who was talking about a sales training, and she goes, here's how to overcome the objection for not having enough money. And she goes, if I tell you I don't have enough money, I don't have enough money. You're not gonna coax some money out of me. And she replied and she goes, would you even fill out the application? She was like, no. I'm like, then what are you doing? Like, you're complaining about a situation, a scenario, a hypothetical that you would never be in. You just drive by hating for no reason. One of my favorite VSLs that I did for a client, every comment is negative. Every client is negative, or every comment is negative. Every single one. And yet we brought him in $176,000 in 24 days. Some people will just hate to hate. Well, this wouldn't work on me. Congratulations. You are so special. Do you want a trophy? And I'll send you a little trophy emoji. I tell people who are like, who disagree with me, hey, what part of the country you're in? Let me know. I'll send you a list of therapists who can help you out. There's nothing wrong with therapy, but if you are so angry that you're just drive by spewing hate on your way out, I'll send you a list and maybe you can get some help with that one. Yeah, Grant was the Airbnb guy. You're gonna have people who love you. You're gonna have people who hate you. Here's the thing. Just because you could have 1,000 people telling me that I hate Alec and I don't like how Alec does something. Do you think I'm going to change? No, because last I checked, they don't pay my bills. Last I checked, I have a community of really cool people who think alike and I don't want them in the group. Thank you for waving your red flag. Get out of here. So you want your call to action to be agitating because the right people will come in and they'll say, you know what, you're exactly right. Like I need to take action. I need to do something. Like I can't keep 9 months, I've gotten no results. 8 months, I've gotten no results. I've spent 30,000 on coach. I had a guy come to me. I spent 30,000 on coaches. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, he said, You got a lead telling me off for cold DM, and I was like, your ad cold interrupted me on my IG feed as I'm not in the market for pressure washing. LOL.